Objection! I don't know anymore. Okay. January 8th, 9:46 a.m. Good morning, Mr. Wright. I was trying to tell my friend during dinner about this game, and I kept saying Ace Wright, Phoenix Attorney, and I was like, that's not right. And he's like, I know what you're talking about, though.
Why is it so little?
Sounds like you problem. Good morning, Maggie. So what do we think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. We still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, it wasn't doubt, that was, determination. Why don't I believe you? Okay, it's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out, she doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trebien's kitchen a couple days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles! Oh, they're aromatherapy bottles. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute! There's one bottle that's different from the others. Well, what do you know? It doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analyst. Oh, goddamn, I'm tired. Results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. It's the ear medication. Iris? Iris? Medication? Yeah, for ears, topical use only, apparently. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Yep. January 8th, 10 a.m. I'm sure y'all can hear my roommate. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. I wish we could, at one point, just have the camera shift and you see the guy who makes the coffee and slides it to him. Ready and waiting, as always, Your Honor. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which makes him effectively deaf in that ear. Here's something stuck in our tooth. Sorry, I ate an almond roca before this. It's amazing how many single contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of the yesterday's mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to those riddles. Thought the old guy just wasn't throwing seeds in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well. Let the first witness take the stand. Oh. And you are. Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Richard Armstrong, the owner and head chef of Le Très restaurant. Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am le pert and perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Très Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right? It was you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Dude, this is like your third cup. Calm down. Ha. Oh, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell us the court what happened the day of Très Bien. Oui? Volunteers? Tears? I don't know. I'm trying. Don't judge me. When it all happened, there were just two customers in the restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decor that day, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no? Yeah. Mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you make it cross-examination. And who are the two customers exactly? Of course, the young man who died. And the other not-so-young man. So you're referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? What about the other man Maggie said she saw at the table? Somebody tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence before we can bring him up, don't we? Guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur. Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. The deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decorature? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior designs, walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. It's not big enough. I was planning the most bold remodeling of le decor. Like having a large mirror. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Buff. Something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 meter. Holy glass and frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Is there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. No, but I decided not to go through with it at this end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. But
Objection!
You didn't ask, right? You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Trey Bien the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if the mirror was delivered to Trey Bien, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ha! If you want to doubt someone, try to look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally? How does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite, even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porku-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with a mask over here? Well, Trite. Ugh, not the hair. I do not have a top knot! Mr. Goddard is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic as one la day. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse? Oui? Hey, Nick, we should take a second think about what old Seedy said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. If he saw everything he described reflected in the mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? That clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but do you think old Seedy saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We've just gotta dig deeper. But he did wear this over his left eye. Got it. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing an earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No questions, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in the mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement, you see, monsieur. Now that you think about it, is not so odd, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in the mirror, why is it that HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order. Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness generally observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Try it. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are you talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? Remember this, I presume? That I broke the base sorry apology Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has a very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elge? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elge's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear his left ear? Huh. Well, try it. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Well, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Good, that's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Look, Nick, looks like the foil of contradiction that you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Listen, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of the restaurant. Okay. Hello, is everyone sitting comfortably? La mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible accident occurred, I moved the mirror. No, it's because the flower base didn't fall over. I think it's in the picture. Yeah, it's still up. So no, it wasn't. It wasn't that one. He's lying. I moved the mirror away, so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. Also a lie. I see no problem with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Coquette. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. Ugh, I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror? Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Look who's talking, Trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Très bien charm is that it gives you an impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. There is only one seat from which you could see the victim. And what would that be? Oh la la, look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know. And some? Shall I tease you too? What are you on, like your 8th already? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. He means coffee. I bet she has a mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Bien, I'll tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? Bien, monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. Everything would have reflected in me, like so. If you were sitting in that table next to him, you would see everything, no? So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting on in that day, when the poisoning happened. The man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd? After the terrible accident occurred, I moved the mirror away so it was not in the way. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried that in the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Could have actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? But naturally, I did not touch anything else. Okay, there's two things wrong with this. Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Suffering from a case of heartburn, right? Oh, I have just this thing for that, an oil with golden mirror and frankincense. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix, breathe. Just ignore these two. Just find some evidence. It is pretty strange, though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a real large mirror. You think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. And the only logical explanation is that there was never a mirror there. Okay. Alright, there's a few things I want to try, because one is the broken... So, I'm gonna try this first. Okay. Your Honor, Mr. Kudo's words yesterday strongly contradict Mr. Armstrong's testimony. This is the letter of apology that was written by Mr. Kudo, is it not? I realize it looks useless, Your Honor, but this is still testimony. Huh. I guess useless people are only really good at identifying useless things. What relevance does this scrap paper have to the trial, Mr. Wright? Mr. Kudo's testimony is actually very relevant to the question at hand, Your Honor. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we would have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Huh, sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. God, this guy is mean. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo? There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trey Bien that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu. I don't know what I'm saying. Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godat, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary in his own word. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right, there was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear? Huh. You only get one shot in life, there's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be much closer to the truth, I can feel it. Are you going to be okay, Nick? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Naya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us. There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Why not? I believe we're looking at this the wrong way. It was actually the doctor's mistake. What? Yes, the doctor got the wrong ear. Well, I believe we saw an autopsy report yesterday, one that said the victim's left eardrum was ruptured and had medicine in it. Sorry. Sorry. I tried. Okay. The victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elge at all. It was an imposter. A phony pretending to be Mr. Elge. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake.